I know I've told this story before, but it bears repeating again for the topic behind this episode. I got a friend who is studying. Actually, I think she's finished studying now and is looking for a job in dentist work. Specifically, I think the title is oral hygienist. It's not like full-fledged dentist yet, but it's like one step down. Still, really good job. Everybody has teeth, so it's not like you're going to be out of work. Good money, all that kind of thing. But it's how she came about realizing that she wanted to do that, which I find so interesting. The way she went about it wasn't intentional. It's not like she was out trying to find herself, per se. It kind of fell into her lap, but it happened through a video game. She was playing Super Mario Sunshine back on the Nintendo GameCube. And there's a level where you have to go inside of a sea monster's mouth, and turns out the reason he's so pissed is because he's got cavities in his teeth. And so, like with everything else you have to do puzzle-solving wise in that game, you use your water backpack and you blast out all the crap in his gums, you take care of the bacteria, and at the end, he's very happy. At least I think that's how it goes. I haven't played that game to that extent myself. This is secondhand information I got from her. But through doing that, she realized how much she enjoyed the process of cleaning teeth. And that is what led her to the job she is now educated for and trying to get. And that's so amazing that something which is just admittedly kind of a goofy little level in a very lighthearted game was enough to inspire and motivate someone to pursue a job and, who knows, perhaps a lifelong career. And the way that kind of relates to what I'm going to be talking about in this episode is what I've seen through Stardew Valley. Before you start assuming things, I don't want to suddenly just run off and be a farmer. That's not where I'm coming from. But more in relation to the core concepts of the game and what I enjoy about doing this and the Let's Play videos. And also, what I'm trying to figure out to do with my life. Because, don't get me wrong, I love doing YouTube, but this doesn't pay the bills. This is fun stuff. Maybe one day it will, but who knows? As I say, I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I'm enjoying doing this all the same. But in relation to Stardew Valley, playing that game has made me realize a couple of things about myself and some of the qualities of the game that really resonate with me. And those are, I like work. I like doing work, particularly if it is physically demanding. I enjoy it. The process of getting something done is very fulfilling, even if it is essentially a very meaningless task or seemingly meaningless task. The process of completion is very satisfying. At the same time, the process of creation, of building something, that's very satisfying too, especially if, and by example in the game, I'm growing crops to get money, to upgrade gear, to go deeper in a mine, to get more materials, to earn more money, to then make a chicken coop, to then allow me to raise chickens so that I can have eggs to turn into other products, to sell and grow a farm, and how each little piece is like this Tetris Lego building block that grows to something bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I love that whole process. And it made me realize why in games like that, in games like Morrowind, in games like The Elder Scrolls, in games like Fallout, any of those games where there is a progression, I realize now why I keep restarting my files, because I will inevitably get to a point, and at least in games like Fallout and Elder Scrolls, half of it is definitely that sometimes I will go away from them for a bit, because, sometimes you play a game enough and you're like, okay, I got to take a breather. And when you come back story-wise and quest-wise, you don't remember what you were doing. You don't remember where you were, and you don't remember just where you had to go, what you had to do. It's like you're jumping in the middle of a movie and you haven't seen the first half. You're a little confused, and you'd much rather go through the grind of starting over from scratch than try to sift through the rubble and figure out where you are. That is half of it. But the other half of it is, I love that process. And I know the closer I get to the end, the closer it means that process is going to be done. And I don't want it to end. I want to keep building towards something in a very weird way. I enjoy the process of running towards the finish line, and I dread the idea of crossing it, because the moment that happens, the race is over, and I have no idea what to do with myself. So having that carrot at the end of the stick is something that like like you see in cartoons. It's like tied to the back of the horse and the horse is just like, oh, I'm going to get it one day. I'd rather be in that position. I never want to be at a point where it's like, yeah, I got the carrot, because, it's like, well, now what do I do? What am I chasing? Right? It's an interesting thing, because so many times, not just with games, but in life, you're chasing towards one goal and you never really think about what you're going to do once you get it. And getting a little philosophical and emotionally deep here, I think the key to that is to constantly have other goals. Not necessarily ones that are so big you can never reach them, but like, for example, if your major goal is to get a full-time job, don't make that the only one. Have other ones. If your goal is to buy a house, don't make that the only goal. Have other ones. Always have something else. Never put yourself in a position where you have one giant major goal, and if you ever achieve that, you've got nothing. Obviously, I'm speaking from a place of ignorance, but I sometimes wonder if that's a reason why people who enjoy great success in film or business, who have all this money, all this prestige, all this wealth, are miserable, because perhaps that was all they were chasing. Now they're in it and they have it and they're at that peak, but there's nothing else they can think of to chase. And so, not that I imagine I'll ever be in a position like that, but generally for life, I think it's very healthy emotionally and mentally to have multiple goals, so there is always something you're building towards. And not only that, but if you ever, like me, find yourself sometimes during a day where you've got some free time, getting a little sad because you don't know what to do with yourself and you feel like you're wasting time, having smaller goals and manageable ones can help, because then if you don't know what to do with your time, you can do something to work towards that, whether it's writing, whether it's art, whether it's YouTube, or just talking into a microphone and spilling out your thoughts in the hope that other people listen, enjoy, and maybe learn something from it. Anything like that. Something. Well, yeah, like I've said before, doing something is always better than nothing, because if you do nothing, you know exactly what's going to happen. But if you do something, you're rolling dice. And you know what? Could be a natural 20, could be a critical fail. You have no idea. But the ability to just throw it and see what number comes up, that's the most exciting part. And again, that is something that I've loved about Stardew Valley, is that there are so many things to do. There are so many things I want to achieve, and so many little projects and things I want to build within the game. I know eventually it will reach an endpoint, or at least an endpoint in that I've basically got everything and now I'm just making a grander, more money-producing farm. But that's going to be a long, long time before I ever reach that point, I hope. And I enjoy that because it means that the grind will always be fulfilling. And I think, small aside, I think that is the key to making a good game that has a grinding element to it. Always make it feel like you're building towards something bigger. I think I mentioned that when I had a preamble on Destiny. But either way, always make it feel like, although it is a grind, and you can't get away from that feeling, at least create the scenario that your grind is building towards something bigger. Yeah, you're killing a slime for the 2 millionth time, but you're doing it because you have to kill a certain number of them for that checklist, and maybe you need 2,000 units of slime to build something or to give to someone. There's something. There is never a reason that you're just doing it for the sake of and nothing else. Hope that was beneficial to you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you got some ideas or comments you'd like to share, by all means, throw them out there. I'd love to hear them. Until next time, my name's Rye. You guys take care of yourselves.